Hello guys, welcome to Typography.com, your solution providers. My name is Jack and today I will show you a Kinetic typography tutorial using After Effects. So we start as always by creating a composition. 9020 by 1080 seems okay. Now keep in mind that the color you must choose it from the beginning unless you're planning on using an effect on the coloring. So I've chosen a reddish background. Now the same applies for the first solid that you're going to create. We will name that BG, stands for background. Again, you have to make the color from the beginning unless you want to use an effect later. So I've chosen the reddish color I told you. Now, I'm not going to start with an effect on the background because we want to see how kinetic typography works. So, as you can imagine, we will start with a text first. We're gonna type in typography.com. So that's our first text. Now, what we can do with that is we can either go to the effects and presets and go either to the animation presets and text folder. Here we have so many folders to choose from, and they're all about mechanicals and movements and blurs and animations and everything you can imagine, so feel free to play with all that. But those are already solutions, meaning that you choose one, you put it in, and that's it actually. Let me just show you one just to see what it's like. You don't have to do anything, you just drag the effect on the layer you want to use it on, and then you just do what you do, and there it is. See, it's moving on its own. But I'm not here to show you how to use effects. You can do that on your own. I'm here to show you how you can manipulate those attributes, the position, the rotation, the opacity, and all those things. So let's start. Let's say that we want our text to come from here, or even better, let's start with something simple. Let's say that we want our text to be right here, invisible, and then turn the opacity to 100 and make it come up, smoothly. And it's a very classy movement that is used in many videos for presentations, and it's called a swoosh movement, because you can imagine the audio while this movement is being made, like the swoosh sound or the whoosh, called by many. So let's see. First um, we start here, and we're going to click the watch over here, the stopwatch for position and opacity. So the opacity will be at 0, but before we do that, let's fix the position at first. Let's get that. Let's see. We'll get that to the center down here, and a few frames later, it will be maybe, I don't know, no, a bit less than a second later, it should be up here, and the opacity here should be 100, whereas in here it should be 0. So by previewing that, we made this. You can see that in real time. It seems a bit slow, so let's drag those time frames over here to make it a bit faster. And of course, you can always easy ease all those keyframes, and you can try to check this box over here. It adds a fast blur, a motion blur, and it's not much of a difference, but with experienced eye you can see that there is a slightly advancement to this point. So that's what we got so far. Now this effect can be used mostly with sound effects as you know, escort. So let's see. Let's say we're right here. You need a sound effect, you know, a whoosh effect, something that will go whooshy as this text comes out, and then you can animate it right back in, meaning that a few frames after that, let's see, we want it to stay a bit here, like still, hold right where it is, and then make it go down again. So we will return it to its primary position and move the opacity back to 0. So until now we've got this done. You see, it's not so bad, but it doesn't seem professional, does it? It seems that we should give it a bit more time to stand here. Yes, I think that's better. You know, give the audience some time to read the text. So after this text is gone, we need another text to come at its place. So let's say we're going to type your solution provider, and let's say we want to make this word, we want to give it another color or another appearance, just to, you know, make it more important, make it look more important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this word over here. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to move those two words, you know, your solution, and then I'm going to create a new text and paste this over here, and I'm going to give it a different color. Let's see, make it black or a dark, very dark gray. Well, it seems nice. And let's move this here. And I think we're good to go. So what we want to do now is we have two effects, and we want two texts. I'm sorry, we have two texts, and we want those two texts to move as one. So what we do is we create a new layer, go to new, and choose the null object. We will rename this and give it the name of the whole sentence, your solution provider. Now I'm going to choose those two texts and choose the pick whip tool and drag it to the null object. Now when I choose the null object, oops, it seems we have to rename this. Okay, now when I choose the null object and move it, you see that it moves as one. So we can now animate this those two texts as if it was just one. But of course, we can only animate the position over here, because you can see if I turn the opacity to 0, which is already to 0, it does nothing. We have to turn the opacity down for the two texts separately. So let's see. We want this sentence to be invisible, just like the first one, the typography.com text. So we go to the provider and we hit T for the opacity to come down. Do the same for your solution text, and keyframe the opacity. Turn it down to 0. Not just yet, because if we turn it to 0, we won't be able to see the position. So we want to see it and then turn it out to 0. Let's go to the position of the null object first and keyframe that as well. Now, while the techiev.com goes down, we want at the exact same time, maybe somewhere around here. So a few frames back, we go and keyframe the null object, which contains the whole sentence, your solution provider, And then we want a few frames later, we want it to go down to where the typography.com text was before. We want it to stay for a few frames there. So we go a few frames later and put a keyframe. This will tell the null object that we want it to stay right there for a few frames. And then we can animate it somewhere else. I don't know. We can make it go to the left a few frames after that. So a few frames after that, we take it and move it to the left until it's gone completely. Okay, so now we go back to the opacity, and we want the opacity here to be 100. So we put keyframes over here, and it doesn't matter, the opacity can stay where it is, or you can also turn it down to 0. We will change that in a while to see the difference. So we want it to hit 0 over here, and also at the beginning. We can now put it to 0 because we know where the null object is, so it doesn't matter. You can see the TechEV text, TechEV.com text comes up, goes down, and at the same time the second sentence comes where it is, and then it goes. Now if we want, we can turn on the opacity right here, put some keyframes. This will also tell the null object that we want it to stay at the 100% of the opacity for this time space over here, and then as the sentence goes, the text can start then to disappear. Of course, don't ever forget to easy ease. This will make things much more easy for you. You can also put a motion blur to all of those layers. It doesn't make much of a difference, but it's no trouble for you, and it doesn't do any harm, so why not? You see, let's preview this, what we've done so far. We can, let's see, if we want to see the text disappear, we can play with the opacity a bit more and take those frames, because the opacity here is turned to 0, but we can take those frames and move them a bit to the left. This will make the text disappear before it is completely gone from the screen. I think we can also take it here. Yes, that is better. So that is called kinetic typography, because the text is moving, and you know, in kinetic typography, more than usual, we use audio to back up the movement of the text. But I'm not in position to do that right now because of the microphone. Maybe in the next tutorial. So that's the first steps in kinetic typography. Now I'm going to make a second part on kinetic typography, where I'm going to use the whole sentences, but with different sizes. We're going to use all that space to fill with different sizes of letters, words, and sentences. But until then, stay tuned to our channel and watch more videos. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I will do my best to reply. For more tips and tricks, visit techiv.com. And until the next time, take care.